After trekking across the nation, battling against the best in each region over 14 rounds, from Arizona to Georgia, Wisconsin to New Jersey, Virginia to New York, and Texas, it was Hero Zero in October for the stars of the North American Road Racing Association's USGT Championship and Whelen US TimeTrial Championship, providing a stunning backdrop to the season finale, fall colours, and one of the nation's most famous, fastest, and unforgiving circuits, Watkins Glen. With strong competition and a double points final round, amazingly, in both series, each class championship was still up for grabs. The weekend had all the ingredients of a Hollywood blockbuster: heroes, action, drama, heartache, and elation. Off to a perfect start, GT3's Ron Farmer and co-driver Jason Hart taking the win in Friday's GT90 endurance race from fellow Continental Challenge driver Brett Seafuse and Michael Hartley.
In a situation like Ron and I have, where I'm the coach and he's the car owner and the primary racer, it gets us an opportunity to both get on track and have some fun together. And we also actually end up collecting good data that we're going to use tomorrow and Sunday.
I walk into tomorrow with a lot of self-confidence and a really good time, and so that gives me an advantage.
Another taking advantage of the caliber of drivers that the USGT attracts, GT2 hopeful Steve Loudin.
We are very lucky in the USGT that Sonny Whelen brings his whole team here. He brought his Grand Am car here to do some testing. I just kind of said, hey, you know, would Eric be interested in going for a ride with me? If I can sit in the car with a pro driver on the likes of Eric Curran, there's nothing that can't come from that. The smoothness with which he can drive a car was just mind-boggling.
And given what was at stake in this final bout, with pros like Eric Curran in George Whelan's corner and Tommy Archer in Jim Booth's corner, was Stout thinking of doing any deals around the paddock?
You know, those deals never worked out anyhow.
And speaking of not going to plan, GTU points leader Booth watching practice from the sidelines.
Yeah, I was following Tommy, and we came up on a slow car, and I locked up the front end, and then, boy, it started jumping. Next thing you know, I'm on the grass, and next thing you know, I'm in the gravel. There's nowhere to go after that.
A worry too for Loudin, his car in for major repairs.
It's always something. It's always something. We had a really, really good practice run going. Then going down the back straight right before the inner loop, clutch decided to go south.
And after a dramatic practice, what could we expect for qualifying?
I think everybody's going to be putting it out there today, so I think you're going to see everybody trying to get 11/10ths out of the car. So it should be fun. It should be a good battle.
Loudin ready in the nick of time.
Changed the clutch, transmission, a slave valve, and got it out just in time to get to qualifying. Track went black flagged, and then they didn't have time to clean it, so I didn't get to qualify.
The session abandoned. The culprit? More.
I feel bad about perhaps boogering up qualifying. I really tried to get it off the track and out of the way so that it wasn't something that held up the whole works, but I guess I put some fluid down, and my apologies to the rest of the guys, and I hope that all works out.
With practice times setting the grid, as per NARRA regulations, it was like throwing a cat amongst the pigeons for the championship contenders. Jim Booth back in 16th, while arch-rival Stout shared the front row with Grand Am star Eric Curran. Stokey 14th, 2 rows back from GT1 adversary Lussier in 10th. Kathy Stout 6 places down from Loudin, as was GT3's Greenman from Farmer. Hartley 5th fastest in class, remaining philosophical.
You know, it is what it is, so we'll take it.
Booth still hopeful.
I think I have to stay within one position of Jim Stout to win the championship. I think if I drop back 2, I haven't seen the points total. So I think if I can finish behind him, and I don't know that that'll happen, but I'm going to give it my best shot.
Coming to the flag, Roberts tries to make it 4 wide. Curran squeezing Stout, opening the door for Whelen, who gets all so close. The loss of momentum allowing Curran back past. Whelen gets him back into the bus stop, but not for long. Each with their own championships on the line, Loudin and Lussier playing the same game, jostling for 7th. Loudin winning out. At the back, Booth past Greenman and Kathy Stout. Then past Stokey and Antonelli by turn 2 to be in 11th. It was Allegretta's turn next into the bus stop before sizing up Farmer through the boot to be 9th after a stellar opening lap. Lap 2 and Curran takes the lead from Stout, keeping Whelen and Booth's title hopes alive. And by lap 3, Booth was in 6th, only 3 places from retaking the championship from Stout. It was game on for the GT1 title too. After dispatching Farmer, Stokey had Lassier in his sights. Meanwhile, Hartley's heart skipped a beat.
It's kind of wild because all of a sudden I could see the edge of the tire starting to peel off, then the tire went flying. Fred was starting to lose. I'm like, uh-oh, this is going to get ugly, and I just kept backing out and just trying to hang there waiting to see what he would do, and then luckily he got the car straight, slowed down, and then I just ripped past him.
A lap later, and suspension failure for Curran, Stout handed the lead. Whelen now in 2nd, and Booth up from 14th to 4th with 5 laps to go, the championship in sight. But fluid starting to spray out of his comp coupe, and a rainbow at the end of pit straight taunting him. But Booth's dreams of collecting the pot of gold over for 2012. Meanwhile, Farmer was showing everyone how to win a championship. Running 8th outright, he set a new class lap record.
The coaching helps a lot, because he's allowed to, coach me in this series, and that really makes a big difference for me because I know what's possible because of what he does. So that really helps a lot, and they've got a great team.
As does Stokey, and he was still pushing hard, but lap after lap, Lassier just out of reach. Parrott playing a pivotal role, and on the final lap, Lassier seizes the moment. The pair nearly touch. Stokey tries to follow suit, but Parrott closes the door, sealing his fate, and the GT1 championship for Frank Lassier.
As disappointing as it is, we're looking forward to next year. We made a lot of good strides with the car this year. 6 wins. Could you ask for anything more? Yeah, but it was a pretty good year.
Even better though for the newly crowned GTU champion and overall race winner, the very modest Jim Stout.
Things worked out well. The sun came out, the weather was pretty good, and the car ran real well and stuck real well to the track, so we're pleased.
Parrott home 4th in GTU, Hartley completing the podium, while 2nd place Whelen was happy with 3rd in the points after his first full USGT season.
I was a little bit behind going in, so I kind of figured if nothing happened to both of the gyms, I probably wouldn't be in the run for first, but just gave my best shot.
Also giving it his all, the GT2 champion, Steve Loudin, despite dropping through the field with a disabled car.
It was a little more difficult this year. We lost the clutch on the fifth lap from the end, and I got it into 3rd gear, and then it popped out of 3rd. Then all I could do was slow down enough and just rammed it into 4th, and that's what we had to finish with.
Kathy Stout 2nd in GT2 and in the championship. Greenman completing his year with yet another podium, Seafuse in 2nd, and clinching the GT3 title in style, Farmer, just dominant. SRT Viper Cup was another title decided at the Glen. After LP Montour took Saturday's win, Ben Keating clinched the championship in style, winning Sunday's reverse grid race from celebrity Andy Bell and AJ Morgan to make Keating the first series back-to-back champion. But as we discussed, it's not the first time the owner of Viper Exchange has created Viper history.
Viper Exchange has really kind of developed into something much larger than what we anticipated that it would. We've somewhat started to create a little bit of Viper history. We sold more new Vipers than any other dealer in the country for the last 2 years. We had warehouses upon warehouses of new cars. That ended up turning itself into Chrysler calling us to ask if they could use a few of our cars to go reclaim the record at the Nürburgring. Dominic Farnbacher was a teammate of mine in the 24 Hours of Daytona this year. I knew that he had won the pole on the 24 Hours of the Nürburgring. He knows the track. He's obviously extremely quick. So when Chrysler called us at Viper Exchange to ask if they could borrow a couple of our cars, I kind of volunteered Dominic to drive one of them. And Tom Cornell was there as well, who had done it in the past. And it worked out really well. We just incredibly to be a part of it. Our cars, Texas dealer license plate on the back of the car, to go over there with Chrysler and to be successful.
The 2013 Vipers are being released in about another month. We have over 111 orders standing right now for the car. The new Viper is quite a car. I mean, we saw it at the New York unveiling, and in all of the body lines of the Gen 2 car, it is, I mean, it's a work of art. Now 640 horse. The car is lighter, it's faster. Sebald is making the seats. The stereo is upgraded. It's now got power seats. It's now got launch control. It's now got traction control. It is a car that's going to be a lot more user-friendly for those that want it. But on the other hand, the SRT, which is the base version, is going to be a stripped-down version of still that raw car. So you've got the best of both worlds.
We should get the largest allocation in the country because we've sold more than anybody else in the last 2 years, which means we're going to have the biggest selection, which means any color combinations. If you want to see various different colors, you want to see what different stripes look like, you want to see what different interiors look like, there's no better place than to come to viperexchange.com to see what we have.
Facing off in the Whelen US Time Trial Championships final bragging rights battle for 2012, thundering Vipers and Vets, and the whistling wastegates of boosted Subarus, Mitsubishis and Nissans. TT1's Cats setting the bar in session 1, but he didn't expect to be topping the charts for long.
Yeah, well, Philip, he'll be coming back strong, trust me. Once it dries up a little bit, he dials that up, he'll be strong. We got a lot more left, though. There's definitely a couple of seconds on it.
But it wasn't just Grabau who looked fast. Local David Santiello immediately on the pace. Starter the fastest of the TT1 championship contenders, while Dixon the early benchmark in TT2 from title hopeful Perkins. And just edging out the GTR of Michael Hayes in TT3, Mandel. Another good lap for Hayes in run 2.
A little damp in the morning and had a great second run. It is my home track here, so I had a little advantage running a stock Nissan GTR. Tires were warming up well and had a real good run. Actually, my best time, the personal best in the 209 range.
But Hayes couldn't rest. As the day went on, Raver rocketed up the charts, also finding the 9s during the final run.
Actually, between second place and third place, we were a few tenths apart.
Fourth in class, Brownowell from first-time Whelen USTTC competitor Chris Worth.
And I had a great time out there, and then I steadily improved my times. Finally, I could, get a transponder on the car and actually time the car without having the instructors yell at me from the sidelines or going too fast or something. But it was definitely a great experience out here.
And speaking of pushing, Mandel in a different league, taking the TT3 win with the 8th fastest outright time, a new class record.
I love when we were out there with the mix of different cars out there. I mean, that's the thing that is great about NARRA. You're just out there with exotics. I love being out there with these high-end cars. So.
Also loving it, another fresh face, McGuinness.
Actually heard about the event on Friday and really scrambled to get things together to be here, and glad I did. The level of cars here was fantastic.
Only 2/10 separated the Subaru pilot and Ty Depp for the second step of the TT2 podium. And while Depp sat out run 3, McGuinness continued to push, shocking everyone, especially Dixon, by going fastest on his second flying lap. Under threat, Dixon responded to stay TT2's top dog. Dixon snuck ahead of McGuinness again in the final run. Then Depp eclipsed them both. But just as it looked like a Mitsubishi would take the top step, Perkins showed everyone why he deserved the title, extracting nearly 4 seconds to take the win, cementing his name in the history books with a lap record and the 2012 TT3 Championship. Turning to TT1, and Katz was still just 2/10 off being outright fastest in session 2. Starter second in class, playing it safe given the buffer to his biggest title threat, McDonald. Manson Way's time in the second run solidified him 4th for the day and 3rd for the year.
It was an extremely fun, life-changing experience for me personally, because this is what I've been wanting to do for a long, long time. The rest of the race drivers and the teams have just been fantastic. It's just cool being around these guys. I got to know Sonny Whelen and Eric Curran, and they helped me this weekend here at Watkins Glen because Eric has such a wealth of information, and he gave me some really good tips on getting around the track. And my times steadily improved all weekend.
And given he was the talk of the town, we thought we'd get to know Sonny Whelen and the history behind his company.
The Whelen Engineering's been around about 60 years. We started with 3 employees in a basement, and now about 1,200 employees in 2 locations. Everything we make is made in the United States, and we sell safety lighting and emergency equipment for ambulances, police cars, fire trucks, and things like that. My father was a pilot, and he flew out both day and night, and I was always a little concerned at night when he flew around because people couldn't see him. So he developed a rotating beacon that he mounted on the back of his airplane on the tail, and that seemed to help quite a bit. So when that became successful and he sold it through aviation markets a little bit, he decided why not expand it to police cars and motorcycles. So that's what he did. My son George and my son James, they're both involved in the company. They both work there now. They're through with college, and they've done quite a bit to prepare themselves for this, and they're just doing a great job. So I'm very pleased about that and very happy to have them involved. Yeah, we do a lot of marketing actually, and motorsports didn't seem like a natural fit at the beginning, but the more we thought about it, the more it made sense because when you look out in the parking lots of some of the local short tracks, you see nothing but volunteer firemen and emergency service personnel and constables and people like that. They're involved with wrecker services and so forth. And you look on the track and you see all the equipment out there. So when we started connecting the dots and using our product to have it promoted in that way, it just made more and more sense as we've gone along. Well, I love this sport. It's great. It's been a lot of fun for me and for my family and for a lot of my friends. So we've been trying to work with different organizations to help make this sport even better. And it's been a great association with NASCAR. They've helped us a lot, and I think we've helped them quite a bit. So it's been working out very well with all the different groups we've been involved in.
If you don't know Whelen from the racetrack, you might know it from the flashing lights in the back of the rear view mirror.
Please don't kill the messenger. We don't turn the lights on and off. We just provide them to the people that that is their job to do. So I've seen them myself, and it's never a good feeling, but I always know that I can see them, and that makes everyone a little bit safer, and that's what we're trying to do.
Back to the action, and driving like he was running from those flashing lights, McDonald, lapping his personal best in the final run, but it wasn't enough. Starter sealing the 2012 TT1 title with second in class, while Cat proved he'll be a future force with a convincing class win. But the real excitement came in the unlimited class. Grabau only 7/10 clear of Santiello in session 2. The battle for the championship in Bolden's favour, after Greenberg experienced issues, but he wasn't the only one.
Yeah, the header came apart, so we had to hurry up and pull the car, a bunch of the panels off and get it put back together so we could finish competing because we had to.
Santiello then matching Grabau's time within 1/1000th of a second as the pair went sub 2 minutes. Greenberg also closing in on Bolden. But in the final session, Grabau was in his element, wowing everyone with a 58.4 to take the win.
Today, the session was really tough. The competition was really good. It went down to, I think, 1,000th of a second in my class. And at the very end, I pulled a wally.
Well, whatever it was, it gave Grabau's Element Tuning Squad yet another Whelen USTTC track lap record, retaining some of the bragging rights for American muscle, Arizona native, Bolden taking the TTU title with, yes, another third place.
It was hard. I'd really like to get above third, but the competition's stiff, and we're always going into these home tracks of these people, and this is amazing venue here. Love Watkins Glen. It was a lot of fun, and it's fast track and fast drivers.
And so, with both the USGT and Whelen US TimeTrial Championships done and dusted, and the awards banquet at the Corning Museum of Glass out the way, it was time for Sunday Fun Day. Of course, it was also a chance for ultimate redemption. The final opportunity to take home a trophy in 2012, to try something new, or to push a little bit harder. Grabau a little too hard. USGT's Stokey handing his keys to brother Mark, who was second fastest in TT1. Third quickest Barry Dixon, finding a second after converting his car overnight. While in the TT3 class, William Chan, Worth and Michael Hayes all did their personal bests. TT2's Mark Forenbauer also found more pace overnight, as did McGuinness.
Got it down to a 2:05.5. Really happy with that.
But the real grinner was Grabau.
Yeah, it was really exciting. Today was the day where I finally was like, all right, let's let the car run free. We stripped some aero off the back. It really loosened up the car, helped me tighten up my line. The Hoosiers were sticking excellent, and just try to keep my foot in it. And we ran a really good session early on, but in a little bit of traffic. Then finally, for the last run, Tom, I turned up the boost.
A 157.5, the fastest TT lap around the Glen in NARRA history. Grabau also taking Sunday's NARRA title in TTU. Starter the win in TT1, Perkins and Mandel completing a carbon copy of Saturday's result. Starter also used Sunday for his first ever GT race. And he wasn't the only one. Saturday's SRT Viper Cup winner, LP Montour, invited to drive Jim Stout's championship-winning car, as was yours truly, in Steve Loudin's 007 machine. Lining up on pole, LP Montour, blisteringly quick with a 48.6, Fred Roberts second. Third, Tommy Archer in Stokey's car, Hartley fourth. Farmer and myself on the GT3 and GT2 poles respectively. But who better to take you through the start than a man in his first ever wheel-to-wheel race?
A lot of fun. I mean, that start, all the cars just fire up because you're side by side, and I was just like, oh, let me hold on for this.
Behind him, more action from my perspective. Booth diving down the inside, forcing the issue with Antonelli, who then got past Allegretta. Tommy Archer squeezing past Roberts for second place before trying to hunt down LP.
Oh, it was fun. You know, this car that Nate's been driving all year just handles great. It just worked good the whole race, and we just tried to keep steady pace, and they had a faster car than us, but we caught them in traffic a couple times, and you know, a little experience there maybe.
Lassier and Hartley also mixing it up, but Hartley struggling with his gearbox. Lassier coming home in third, Booth from the back to fourth, and Antonelli hounding the McDonald's ACRX in the closing stages. But Montour was determined to add yet another first to his list.
Right, thank you. It was a nice race. My first time at this track, my first time in USGT, first time on this car. It's a beautiful car, beautiful track, and everything was perfect.
Joining Montour on the podium, the other winners. Tommy Archer, first in GT1, Farmer taking yet another in GT3, and winning GT2, I finally got a gig on the NARRA podium for the right reasons. So what were my impressions?
And I've raced V8 supercars in Australia to Interlight prototypes over here, and I've never in my life raced a big, heavy, powerful, thundering Viper before. So to jump in today was a really, really good experience.
And while the year's over, there's plenty more fun to come. 2013 bringing another superb schedule beginning in February. North and South titles and plenty more. Visit narraonline.com for all the details. And how you, even if you've never driven at a track before, can come and race the nation with NARRA. For now though, we'll whet your appetite and leave you with some of the more memorable moments of 2012.
Favorite. Oh, I don't know. I guess I like New Jersey. Jersey was fun because a little more home track.
Oh, I think it was the race at Road, first race at Road America. That's my favorite track.
I guess the win at VIR on my dad's retirement weekend, that was probably, you know, my best moment.
So I would have to say Road America was the most memorable this year because it's, you know, when I came together with the car.
I would say at Monticello when Greenberg, I'm not quite sure if he realizes I'm in a stock ACR, and we were side by side through about 4 or 5 turns, and I was thinking to myself, you know what, it's probably not the greatest idea without a roll cage to be doing this, but it was a lot of fun, and we both drove really clean, and it was awesome.
I've never come across an organization that's better run and has more fun than NARRA does.
I really think that now's the time to step away and just take a different challenge.